Hey, how you doing? This is the WAP from Two Makes and a WAP. Gonna do something a little different here. Ain't no jokes. This is a professional one-on-one interview with Evelyn McNeill, owner and proprietor of Unplugged Artistic Event Planning and Studios. So I reached out to her. She was just on a recent podcast, and I just reached out to her because I noticed she had some things going on, and I wanted to see if she wanted to do a serious interview and get those things out on the table and to the public. So, first off, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for doing this. It's kind of weird being like straightforward, but I think it needed to be done. So I'm just gonna shoot off a couple quick things. Tell me correct, right, or wrong.
Okay.
You started modeling in 2004.
That's right.
Okay. You studied criminal justice and human services at Gateway.
Correct.
Did you get a degree?
Yep.
Okay. And then from there, you studied law and pre-law with a minor of social work at Alverno College. Is this correct?
Correct.
Did you get a degree?
Yes.
Look at you. And you, from there, you went to Upper Iowa University, studied human services with a minor in psychology.
Correct.
Did you get a degree there?
Correct.
First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Now, you are the owner of Unplugged Artistic Event and Planning Studios.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And this started in 2014.
Yes.
And you opened your first studio in 2016.
Correct.
And then you expanded in 2017.
Correct.
So now, you went from modeling to being on the other end of the camera, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Why?
I really liked modeling, and I liked being able to convey emotion with modeling. However, I was getting really frustrated with the fact that I wanted to tell stories that everybody has a different perspective. So if you tell somebody, hey, I want to shoot this, and this is like in my mind, and this is the way it works with art a lot, their vision of what you want is going to be completely different than the vision of what you actually wanted. So I took it upon myself to start doing mainly self-portraits at first, where I was like, hey, this is how I'm feeling, and I'm gonna nail exactly what's in my head. A lot of it is like dreams. You have a dream about something and you wake up and you tell somebody like, hey, I had this dream and it was crazy, and you're trying to talk to them about it and they're like, wild.
Yeah,
and it's
looking
like,
at you like,
yeah, you're crazy.
Right.
But you have this dream in your head and you think about it all day, like, man, that was a weird dream. Like, why did I have that? Or what am I going to do with that? And you just store it away somewhere. But for me, artistically, I was like, I don't want to store that away. I want to put that out there.
You want to show the world, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So now I'm going to go out on a limb, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to guess this because that's what I do.
Okay.
I'm going to guess that part of that comes from you being a model for so long and wanting to have a certain artistic vision with what you're doing, but the people that you're going to aren't giving you the full vision, right?
That's true. I've worked with so many talented people, and the thing is, everybody has their specialty doing different things, and eventually you get tired of doing high fashion, or you get tired of doing boudoir, you get tired of doing fetish shoots, and like, I love these things and I still do them, but like, my work specifically is based off of emotion. It's my therapy. That's what it is. It's my life story. So from beginning to end, if you look at my photos, a lot of the times it's like, a lot of people are like, whoa, that's an intense photo. Well, it's an intense photo because it
came from an intense feeling.
It came
from an
from
intense
my
part of your life.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not just something that I thought would look cool. There's history behind it almost all the time.
Well, that's really nice. I like that.
It can be.
Well, I mean...
It's therapeutic, I'll tell you that much. It has saved me more times than not. from, what do you do? What do you do with like pent up emotions? And it's not just that. It's not like I'm just somebody out here who's like struggling, but just life sometimes hits you really hard. And like, what do you do with that? Especially when you're talking to other people, and maybe you can talk to other people as much as you want. It might make you feel better for a minute, but that person's never really going to understand. But art will always understand. And when you put your feelings into art, that's always going to be there. That's your timestamp. You did that. You know exactly what you were feeling when you made that art and exactly what it meant.
And I understand where you're coming from. And that's part of the reason I wanted to bring you to the table for this interview, because I consider myself an artist. The podcast, we do that. I make music. We've known each other for a long time, and we've
Small
been
business.
all sorts of things. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Small business, big business too. I mean,
Correct.
let's be honest.
Correct.
So, with that being said, I noticed you had some. Well, we talked about it, that you had some issues, and that's part of the reason that I brought you here too. And honestly, I stand with you on a lot of different viewpoints when it comes to business. And I guess I'll start with this question. How many times have people misconstrued a business partnership for a friendship?
Hundreds of times. And the thing is, it's not that I don't have respect for that person or that I don't care about that person. It's just that there is a massive difference between you being a client and an acquaintance and us going out to get coffee and talking about our lives. Having said that, I've talked to plenty of people about their lives. I've counseled plenty of people on their issues. It's all confidential. I've never taken it anywhere, and I don't mind doing that. It's just
well, I mean, clearly you went to school to be and studied social work and psychology and human services. These are all things that help people that are damaged or victims or that have gone through the same things that possibly you or I have gone through.
Exactly. And the point is to help. And so when somebody comes to me, I don't mind doing that. And some of those people are friends, but there's lines where there's been times that, especially when bashing the business, there's been people who have been like, this was my friend and they did me dirty because they charged me for this. Okay, so this is a business, and I'm not trying to be rude at all, but the work that I've put in over these past 2 decades wasn't for nothing. Like, there's bills to pay, there's family at home, and I'm trying to make something happen here. And so it's not all negative. You get a lot of people that are like, this has changed my life and I've met so many amazing people. And then you get those people who hide in the shadows and wait for something negative to happen. And they jump on a train of basically, screw this person because of this reason. But the reasons are normally non-legitimate, or they had something to do with business. Like, I told you no. Or there was a boundary.
Or they had to pay an extra fee for an extra edit, or an extra photo shot, or an extra picture given.
Or I had to pay to come to your event. Well, do you realize that I had to pay for you realize... It's like, you think it's common sense. You realize I had to pay for the venue. You realize that I have to pay to set all of this up, right? Like, this is a business. I
have noticed in many, many years of whether it's art, whether it's any type of customer service, your customer never thinks of or understands the work that's put in, what it takes to make the product that they're buying. But yet they expect it a certain way, and if they don't get it, then not only in this climate, and not only is it just they're gonna write a bad review, they're gonna try and burn you, try and bury you.
Yes, they're gonna try to bury you. And not only that, I think that it's terrible that then they go into your personal life, like your family life, your whatever else you do, if you have a career elsewhere, like your education or whatever it may be. Like, I've heard a million times, you're supposed to be an advocate. Well, I am. I just don't announce every single time I help somebody every single day. That's not part of what being an advocate is. Part of being an advocate is keeping people's stories and their problems under wraps. It's nobody else's business. So, that's part of helping people. You don't help anybody by
posting on social media platforms.
Correct.
About a situation that's not even yours.
Correct. So then to be plucked out like this person is not an advocate, I X, Y, and Z, especially with my past, is like almost feels like just a blow to the stomach, like getting the air knocked out of you.
Hold on a second. What are you talking about your past? What do you mean?
So, like, for instance, for me, the entire reason that I got into the field that I got into was because I was in an abusive marriage. I had no idea how I was going to get out of it. I had kids. I wasn't sure if I was going to escape. I had actually accepted the fact that I was probably going to die there. And that was probably one of the lowest points in my life. I had to fight for my business. I had to fight to go to school. I had to do things in secret. I had to talk to my mother in secret. I had broken bones, thrown downstairs, kicked.
So, to hear people say that you're not an advocate of these things, I could imagine that would boil you. And not even, well, for me, I get hot. I get really mad. But for someone, I couldn't even fathom going through that. So, but for someone like you, that'd probably make you feel lower than low.
For me, it's like getting the wind knocked out of you. It's like, how could you say that I'm not an advocate when I advocate for people every day? And not only that, I came out of this alone. Nobody helps me do this. Like,
yeah, you didn't get social media parades. And,
no,
yeah.
I didn't turn to anybody. It just was something that I decided, like, well, you know, this person's either going to kill me or he's not going to kill me, but it's time to make a jump. So I did it. So like me being able to own my business and having what I have and like being a single mother, which I have done, like I almost have an 18-year-old. I've raised these kids and financially like alone and morally and all of their values. These things come from me. And so it's like watching these kids be amazing and how they act with like the homeless community and them volunteering and then helping all of their friends at school and just watching how their lives are shaped and then looking at the internet and being like, well, Abby is a piece of scum is like, where'd you get that?
I could see where that's not, yeah, that make it a little deflating, make you mad, make you like, what the hell?
It's almost not even mad. It's almost like sad. It feels like you've taken my story and all of the work that I've done and you've just
painted whatever picture you want.
Yeah, you just
and not only that, put it on social media for everybody to create their own assumptions of who you are as a person.
Correct.
When you went through these challenges, you went through difficulties, you went through college, you got your degrees. And let me ask you something, all right? You had to put out cease and desist letters, right?
I did.
You had to get restraining orders, correct?
I did.
And I know this because it's public record.
Public record.
I've looked up these things, and names don't matter. But my thing is how does that feel defeating that you have to do these things? I mean, does it feel like it puts you a step behind?
It feels like I wish I never had to do that. It feels like, why did it need to get that far? Why are you so upset at me that you felt like you need to threaten me? You need to threaten to beat me up. You need to threaten to hurt me. You need to threaten to do whatever. You need to run my name through the mud. What does that do for you, first of all? I mean, if the goal is to try to destroy my business, I mean, okay, but...
Well, I've noticed in art, and you know, it's not just... There's so many different levels of this. There's the customer service level where the customer thinks that he's always right when he has no idea what's going into the product.
Correct, and you have to lay it down.
And there's the level of, for some reason, with art, people just want to take you down.
Yes, they do.
Whether it's different bands, cutthroat musicians,
Yes.
podcasts,
Yes.
Photography,
It's
even
competitive.
artists. Tattoo artists is a good one. And going back to the client aspect of it, I've seen so many, you've seen them too, so many of our friends that were tattoo artists, and their buddies would, they give their buddies the $5 tattoo, the $10
Yep.
tattoo,
Yep.
And there comes to a point in that artist's life where like, hey, this is something, it's a true passion of mine,
Right.
I'm proud of my work,
Right.
and it also pays my bills and keeps the roof over my head and turns the electric on, so now I have to charge an amount.
And if you were my friend,
You would understand
you
these
would
things.
understand that. Not only would you understand that, but you would probably tip me and appreciate how far I've come from point A to point Z. And I know not everybody knows everybody's backstories, and that was part of the issue that I had with this whole debacle. I'm not a psychic. Alright, so I don't know people's lives like that.
But you got a degree in psychology. That doesn't mean you can read people's minds.
Yeah, I love it when people try to use that. I think I saw a comment that said something along the lines of like, Evie is very smart and manipulative and she preys on weak people, and I was just, in my head, I was thinking, well, who in my life is weak? I can't think of anybody that I know that is weak, and if you are weak, I can't think of anybody that I wouldn't cut my left arm off and give to. So, what exactly are we talking about? A personal vendetta, and you're being able to say whatever you want on social media as a fact. And then, unfortunately, a herd mentality starts, and then suddenly accusations come that I'm an abuser, I saw. And that was like, to me, that was like, I can't really explain that feeling. I had like some deep moments of depression after that. Like, how can you, do you know how hard I've fought to escape exactly what you're accusing me of being?
Right, to be called an abuser when you've been abused, and you help people on the other aspect of
Get
this.
out of it.
Right, like, and
For
and
years.
And if anybody has known anything about you or what you do or what you're studied or what you've got degrees in, then they would know that that's clearly not the case.
Sometimes that doesn't matter.
Well, and unfortunately, that I always go back to societal and conversations I had with my friends, or even on the podcast, or in the songs that I write. It's all about societal and that, like you said, herd mentality,
Yes.
the sheeple. So somebody gets upset with you about something, and they make this ridiculous comment, and because they have friends that follow them like as if their word is gospel.
Correct.
So then you have other people. Now, well, and the problem is, this isn't just some person that you deal with. This is business to client relationship.
Exactly.
And the problem is that these people don't understand that that's different. That's not. We're not friends.
No.
Just because I'm nice to you, I'm nice to you because I'm trying to give you a proper service.
Correct.
But you are going to pay for that service.
Correct.
Because it is a business, and I busted my ass to get here.
To get here.
Right.
Exactly. And on the side, I'll talk to you about your issues if you got issues, and I've talked to hundreds of people about their issues for free. I don't care. I've taken calls in the middle of the night. I have clients from my job that call me at all hours. I don't mind. I like helping people. So to have a drag, to see some of like these comments, or to see like some mutual friends respond with like hearts to comments about me being a fraud, was like, I guess it was hurtful in a way, but at the same time it was like, you almost want to sit down with that person and be like, can you explain to me what exactly it was that I did to you? Because, I mean, with business, you can't really take things personally, but at the same time, pretty sure I was there for you when you needed me outside of business.
Yeah. I understand that. At the same time, though, I do take business things personal sometimes, because most businesses I do, I put my everything.
Yeah, you put your heart and soul
You know
into
what I
it.
mean? So yeah, if you disrespect it or shoot it down or however the situation, yeah, I'm gonna be upset. I'm
And
gonna
if
take
you
it
do
personal.
feel
But
as though I'm a fraud, why in the world are you still
returning customer?
returning? Why are you, it was the same thing with like the topic. We were talking about, well, what I did, but you came back. You just kept coming back. So you enjoyed the service. You got something out of the service, but it became a problem for you when it was an external problem. Which is just, it's not right. It's not something that you should do to another human being. It's not something that I would do. I didn't even want to take out the orders of restraint. That's not something I wanted to do. I didn't want to take legal action. Why would I want to do that? I would rather just live my life in peace and continue doing what I'm doing and hope that success comes from this and that I can continue doing what I do.
So there's multiple orders, right? So there's been different people involved in this situation.
Correct.
Now, I guess my question is that, do you think that, all right, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Do you think, if in your personal opinion, on a day-to-day life, now this is a very brass question, do you think that they're successful and happy?
I would say that they're not happy based on everything that's just happened.
Well, and that's my point. And I guess that's what I was getting to, is that I've noticed that some people that you deal with, and even if it's a business customer relationship, and because you're nice to them, they get the idea that you're their friend.
Correct.
So they expect these things and these deals, these cuts, these free things, which...
Right, or are outraged that you even charged for your business.
Correct. So all these things happen, and then on top of that, they make these comments and do these things, and as a businesswoman, a professional businesswoman, you can't get in the game of cat and mouse on
Nope.
on social media, and who would want to?
Yeah.
You've got clients you've got to deal with.
What's the point?
So I guess my point is that I really do feel that most people, if you're not going to bring them onto your ship, they're going to poke holes in the bottom of your boat.
Correct, it's piracy.
But not even the cool piracy.
No, it's not. It's somebody, without sounding rude, you have too much time on your hands when you're worried about what I'm doing, because I haven't thought about you in a very long time. And when I do think about you, I don't wish anything bad on you, is the thing. And so, like with both of the individuals that this happened with, I did reach out to them and say, listen, I wish you the best. I believe everything you've said. I've taken a million classes in de-escalation, whatever else, victim rights. I did everything that I possibly could. So listen, I just want to tell you that I respect you, despite the fact that you just disrespected me all over the place. I still respect you, and I still believe you, and I still care, and I want you to know that you're heard. But what you're doing right now is wrong. These accusations that you're making about theft. There was no theft. There were items left at my studio 4 years ago. That's not theft. That's leaving behind property. There were accusations of abuse. That was not abuse. That was me and my friend wrestling like we were teenagers. And there's a letter, there's an affidavit that says that. So, and then there's accusations about me being friends to sexual predators. I don't know this man. This man was a client.
So, with all this happening and all this being said, it doesn't matter. And you didn't have to do this, and the transaction was over.
Correct.
But you looked him up anyway, because you wanted to know if there was charges filed against this guy or anything that was said. Was there?
No. Having said that, I completely and totally and utterly believe this person. However, it needs to be made distinctively clear as a business owner. He came to an event of mine. I was told after the event what happened to this person years prior. He never came back to another event that I ran. I shot him again in 2020. That was a contract that I had with a gym. I wasn't given a list of people who were going to be there. I'm not breaking a contract that feeds my family. I'm fulfilling my contract because that's what you do in business. I have a signed contract. I'm not going against it because of your personal story. I empathize with you. I sympathize with you. I feel badly for you. I'm not friends with that person. I don't know that person. I don't associate with that person. It's totally disconnected. So me being pulled into the midst of it.
It's kind of like if, let's say, my band goes and plays at a bar.
Correct.
Okay, I book this thing, I go to play at this bar, and the bartender is a domestic abuser.
Oh, it happens.
Right. So, and then after the show, we get paid, it's a contract. I get hated on social. This didn't happen. I'm just, a hypothetical.
Hypothetically, yes.
So then I go home, and the next day I see on our band's page, don't follow these guys. They support domestic abuse.
Correct. And that's exactly it. You don't support domestic abuse. You're fulfilling a contract because you signed it. And guess what happens if you don't fulfill that contract? Especially like in this kind of business. And I'm sure it's the same for bands. You get sued.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
This is why you have lawyers. I have business insurance. I have all of these things set up. I'm not a hobbyist. I'm not somebody who's out here just having fun and having a good time. I do have a good time doing what I do. I do love it. But I have these things in place for a reason. And I know the repercussions of doing certain things. There is no way I am ever going to break a contract. You can't get me to do it. So...
Oh, you mean you're professional?
Professional. And I have to stay that way. So when I saw this individual... and he was at this, I did my job. I packed my stuff up and I went home. So to see, I think what was an emotional burst is what it was. Just an emotional, slanderous, I don't even know what to call it. It was just everywhere. At first I was like, wow, this is intense. And then I was like, okay, there's a lot going on here, and I know what the motive behind it is, but I can't address that because I have to be a professional. So what do? I have to deal with this legally. It's my only choice.
So you contact lawyers, send out cease and desist, and the order of restraints.
Unfortunately, you have to get orders of restraint because you have people calling you from private numbers, people messaging your business page, people sending you all kinds of things. I got messages that like, eat shit, I'm gonna stab you, don't be seen around Racine. I live in Racine, my business is in Racine, and you will see me in Racine, period. I'm not afraid of the threats, not because I'm tough, but because professionally, I know legally what my rights are, and I know what you can and cannot do. And you cannot sit here and threaten people. You cannot sit here and have your friends threaten people. You cannot sit here and tell a bunch of lies about somebody on the internet. I mean, you can, but good luck if they have a lawyer.
So, since you reached out to your lawyer and you've had these letters sent out, has it calmed down?
Oh yeah, it's silent. It is silent. One of the 2-year ROs was granted, and I swear to you, I haven't heard a peep. And it's unfortunate that it had to get to that point because I still, to this day, even after that, wish the best for that person. I hope they're successful. I hope they make it. If they want to model, I hope that they get deals. If they want to run a business, I hope it's successful for them. I have no bad blood against them. I have no bad blood about this situation. I just think it was completely out of control and emotionally based. And I think you need to have empathy for other human beings before you start spouting off facts that are not true. You need to look into what you're saying. You need to think about what you're saying. You need to think about the repercussions of what you're saying and what that's going to do for you. I don't wish bad on anybody. I only wish good on everybody, including everybody in this situation. And the people who I thought were also friends of mine, I don't wish bad on them either. I'm just was very shocked and surprised to see their interactions. I feel like if you're successful and you have your head on straight and you're healed, you don't have to behave like that.
I'd agree. So I want to get on to something else before we wrap this up. Do you plan on expanding more your studios?
Yeah, I would love to. Not only do I want to expand more, like I have a business model, business plan to open up something even bigger. So these studios, they're great, they're amazing. The members I have, they're really cool. I love that. I would love to expand this to musicians and painters and other things of that nature. And there's also, the oddities aspect. There's so many different things. I'm an entrepreneur, so everything is a business idea. I'll be driving past something and I'm like, well, I could probably do something with that. But yeah, I don't plan on ever stopping. So
do you do film?
I am working on doing film right now.
Well, look at that. I want to thank you for being the first ever one interview guest. I am proud of you for everything that you've done.
Going right now.
It's a lot of work. Most people can't get one degree, whether major or minor, it doesn't matter. Most people can't get one aside from 3 and raise kids and do it through abuse. And then on top of that, stay consistent to your passion and your hobbies or whatever throughout the entire run. And then not only then you start your own business to expand it further because it's what makes you happy. And I'm very proud of you. But I want to give you one piece of advice. And this is something that is hard. I battle it every day. Nobody's going to have your empathy.
No.
Nobody's going to have the respect that you have.
No.
Nobody's going to have your work ethic.
No.
Nobody's ever going to have your drive.
No.
And nobody's going to have your loyalty. So
that's true.
Once you realize that the people you deal with on a daily basis aren't you, it'll start to make things go a little easier. I haven't seen it happen yet, but I'm trying.
It's so hard. It's so hard when you want to have a big heart and you want to love people and you are that loyal person. That is one of the worst things. And then you see somebody that you've helped be disloyal or take like a moment like.
And it's funny. Over the course of the years, I think of different business owners I interacted with, and they were stern. And they weren't friendly.
Cold. They're cold.
Right. And I was like, man, this guy's an asshole. Why is he acting like that?
Why is he a dick? Yeah.
And over the course of time and dealing with customers on a regular basis, and it's like, really? Like, I do get it because you have to be crass because if not, everybody wants something for free.
Yes, and
off of your hard work and dedication.
Yes.
So.
That's 100% truth. And unless you're doing something for them, they're either with you or they're against you.
Yeah, and it's sad. But I know you, and I know obviously you're doing all the right things, and you'll continue to do the right things, and Unplugged will grow, and I'll be there with you.
Well, I want to thank you for having me on because I know you don't do this type of a thing very often.
No, I don't. It hasn't been very funny, has it? But I want to thank you for being here. for being on the podcast and for future podcasts
Yes.
that you'll be on. Evie, Evelyn Nor McNeill. Evelyn Nor on Instagram, Evie McNeill on Facebook, Unplugged Artistic Studios and Planning on Facebook and other social media platforms. The links will be underneath in the description. Thanks again.
Thank you.